Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur le Consul. So good evening, everyone. My name is Guillaume. I'm 40 years old. As far and as long as I can remember, as I was very little, I've always been seeking happiness, and it's been always a struggle for me, something I never really figured out for a very, very long time. When I was young and when I grew up, I did a lot of things thinking I would find happiness. I became a music player in an orchestra, in a big orchestra, a violinist at 15 years old. At 20, I started my first company and I sold it a few years later. At 25, I became a veterinarian, and I'm still a vet today. I'm never practicing, but I'm a vet. And at 30 years old, I became one of the youngest CEO for a luxury company in Europe. And despite all that, despite running after all that and learning and doing a lot of things, I never really found exactly what really makes me happy. And from the outside, people always look and, oh my God, this is amazing what you've done. I never felt that way. And I came to the US here at 32, and this is where really my story starts today, and I think where it's starting to make a lot of sense for me. I started a few years ago in 2008, a big company here. I mean, it was very small when we started with my partner, Christophe. We were 2 people, and we started this startup called Totsy.com. And this company became, after 5 years, one of the largest companies here in New York City. 250 employees. We raised close to $45 million for that company, and we pretty much won every single award you can win in the startup scene. Forbes, Fortune 500 company, New York City Venture Fellow for the best entrepreneur in New York. And the last one was in 2012, where we won Entrepreneur of the Year. Entrepreneur of the Year is not for giving public speeches, as you can see. It's just for running very well your startup. And 2012, so I came on stage here in Times Square, and I get this award, you know, which basically tells you why you are the best entrepreneur out there. And at that time, I think it was a time where I felt the most unhappy in my life inside. So you have all this public, like tonight, even more people, and your team is there, your family, your friend, and you feel this disconnection. And basically, that was the beginning of a very quick 6 months downfall that led me to an amazing path that I'm going to talk about now. Within 6 months, I stepped down as the CEO of my company. I lost my partner and my best friend at the time. I also lost someone I was living for 5 years with, which was, you know, considered as my soulmate. I almost died in a car accident on the George Washington Bridge. That was in March last year. And at that time, because pretty much everything was telling me, go away, lost my company, my partner, my life partner, I decided to leave the country. And I took a one-way ticket to India, to Kolkata. For those of you who've been to India, it's pretty intense. Kolkata is even more intense. And I decided to do volunteering for almost a year. I worked in amazing places. I started with Mother Teresa in Kolkata, working with dying people. I, climbed the Himalayas and I work with monks. I pretty much done everything you can do with slums and little kids that are abandoned by their parents, organ trafficking, etc. So I spent a very long time there. And one day, as I was in India and I was walking the streets, there's a lot of things in the street in India, starting by cows, but also a lot of crazy people. And this one guy come to me and grab me by the shoulder, and he say, "You are a healer." And I pushed the guy, because there's a lot of people grabbing you in the street or coming very close to you. He say, "You are a healer." And so I pushed him again. And then I turn around and I understand he say healer, like healing. And I stop for a second. And something clicked in my mind. I was like, healer? And I remember that my grandfather, who's still alive, who's 96, is a healer. I mean, he's a businessman like me, but when people come to see him at home, he put his hands on people and he can heal people. And my life changed. From that time on, and for the next 9 months, I continued traveling and I started healing people. I spent a month with that man that I met in the street, considered as my teacher today. And he taught me a lot of different things, but in fact I discovered that I was gifted, I guess, this gift I could use on people. And in January this year, I was back after 10 or 15 countries doing this. And when you come back in the US and you are a healer, it's a little bit different than being in India. It's not the same, really. You cannot come to people in America, I don't know if you know that, even touch people. This is illegal. So unless you're a massage therapist, you cannot touch people. And despite I train as a doctor, as a vet, you know, I'm not really, don't really know how to do that. So I decided to look at how I could heal people. And one of the things that makes people really sick, especially in this country, is food, you know, and your environment. So I'm starting a new business at the moment in the food industry, in the food business, bringing very quality food, farm products into the city. So we are building the business plan, and we are building that business at the moment. I train as a beekeeper, and now I have amazing beehives upstate New York, and I make my own honey, and you know, I bring that to my friends so far. And you know, I'm going to launch this new company now in fall. So what's amazing, and what I want to share with you tonight, is that I had to go very, very far away and pretty much to leave everything behind to really find that seed that was already there inside me, that my purpose, basically, what I was done for. I had to leave the country, and I sold pretty much everything before going. I left with one backpack with 25 items in it, and I lived with 1 year with that backpack and 25 items, nothing else. Very different from the life I live, you know, in the luxury industry or before in New York. And it's when I left everything behind, when I silenced everything, that I finally heard that voice that I had since the beginning. That's maybe why I wanted to be a vet. That's maybe why I was looking at the sky and wanted to be an astronomer. All those questions started to make sense. So I invite you not to wait 40 years to do that, not to wait 40 years to really seek inside you what is your true passion, what is your true purpose, and to try to remove as many things as possible from your life, to just listen to that little voice, and you never know what you might hear, and you never know how happy it can make you. Thank you.